শ্ৰদ্ধাৰ শিক্ষাগুৰুসকল, আজি আমি নিষ্ঠা ট্ৰেইনিঙৰ কোৰ্চটোৰ শিফটিং টুৱাৰ্ডছ কম্পিটেন্সি বেছড এডুকেশ্যন পেপাৰখনৰ প্ৰশ্নসমূহ আলোচনা কৰিবলৈ লৈছোঁ। আহক আমি প্ৰশ্নসমূহ আলোচনা কৰোঁ। প্ৰথম প্ৰশ্নটো হ'ল ইন দ্য কম্পিটেন্সি বেছড এডুকেশ্যন মডেল এছেছমেণ্ট ইজ ডান এনুৱেলি, কোৱাৰ্টাৰলি, থ্ৰু আউট দ্য ইয়েৰ, হাফ ইয়াৰলি। আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব থ্ৰু আউট দ্য ইয়েৰ। The third year of the FLN framework is known as School Readiness Program Balvatika Kindergarten Preschool। আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব Balvatika। The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act aims to provide free and compulsory elementary education for children between 3 to 6 years of age, 6 to 14 years of age, 3 to 18 years of age, 0 to 8 years of age। আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব 6 to 14 years of age। In competency model, instruction is designed to match the test of the students' age, class or grade, developmental readiness skills। আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব developmental readiness। Learning outcomes should be textbook based, generic, scientific, observable and measurable। ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব observable and measurable। Early childhood is a critical period of development for learning social and emotional skills, also known as physical health, mental health, interpersonal skills, social health। ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব mental health। Each competency has been given a number or code for arranging the learning outcomes horizontally, easy identification and referencing, arranging the learning outcomes hierarchically, arranging the learning outcomes systematically। আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব easy identification and referencing। The framework of foundational literacy and numeracy has been divided into 5 developmental goals, 3 developmental goals, 4 developmental goals, 6 developmental goals। ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব 3 developmental goals। It is not one of the developmental goals of FLN framework. Children participate in games and sports. Children maintain good health and well-being. Children become effective communicators. Children become involved learners and connect with their environment। আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব Children participate in games and sports। Developmental Goal 3 progresses into following subjects in grade 3: Hindi and English, Mathematics and EVS, Games and Sports, Science and Social Science। ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব Mathematics and EVS। Expression and management of emotions and the ability to establish positive and regarding relationships with others and the ability to explore and engage with the environment is a part of aesthetic development, socio-emotional development, physical and motor development, language and literacy development। আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব socio-emotional development। A combination of knowledge, skills and attitudes appropriate to the context is defined as attitude, competency, learning outcome, skill। আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব competency। Nutrients like vitamin A, iodine, iron and zinc is the diet provide immunity, balanced nutrients, micronutrients and macronutrients। আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব micronutrients। The competency-based education is based on the idea that learners should be enabled to develop in-depth understanding of concepts and principles so that they get theoretical knowledge, they can transfer the knowledge to real life situations, they get practical knowledge, they score high marks in the examination. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব they can transfer the knowledge to real life situations. Children learn to read mechanically through simple decoding but without much comprehension if their test is not ensured. Oral language based alphabetic knowledge, vocabulary, print concept. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব oral language based. Specific statements that describe exactly what a student will be able to do in some measurable ways are skill, competency, learning outcomes, attitude. ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব learning outcomes. In the FLN framework, learning outcomes are arranged randomly, virtually, spirally, hierarchically. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব spirally. Which is not an outcome of competency-based education. Students depends on rote learning is reduced, the burden of incomprehension is reduced, students acquire high marks in the annual examinations, students apply their knowledge to real life situations. ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব students acquire high marks in the annual examinations. The National Council of Educational Research and Training NCERT developed learning outcomes at the elementary stage for each class and subjects in the year 2017, 2019, 2009, 2020. ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব 2017. In competency-based education system, learning outcomes for each class are well defined and fixed, developed by class teacher, variable developed by students. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব well defined and fixed. এনেদৰে আমি 20ৰ ভিতৰত 20 সম্পূৰ্ণ আমি প্ৰশ্নসমূহ কৰিলোঁ আৰু এনেদৰে আপোনালোকে কৰি গ'লেই এতিয়া আমি সাবমিট কৰিলোঁ 20ৰ ভিতৰত 20 সম্পূৰ্ণ স্কোৰ আপোনালোকে পাবলৈ সক্ষম হ'ব। এতিয়া আমি Shifting towards competency-based education পেপাৰখনৰ অন্য এখিনি প্ৰশ্ন আপোনালোকলৈ আগবঢ়াম। আহক আমি প্ৰশ্নসমূহ আলোচনা কৰোঁ। In a constructivist approach, the teacher is seen as a observer, facilitator, activist, trainer. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব facilitator. The amendment of Rule 23(2) of the Right to Education Act 2009 highlighted that no detention policy should be enforced. All the stages should be prepared class-wise, subject-wise learning outcomes. Children can be detained if they fail in the examination. Public examination should be held in class 3 and 5. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব all the stages should prepare class-wise, subject-wise learning outcomes. The competency-based education is based on the idea that learners should be enabled to develop in-depth understanding concepts and principles so that they score high marks in the examination, they can transfer the knowledge to real-life situations, they get practical knowledge, they get theoretical knowledge. ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব they can transfer the knowledge to real-life situations. The guiding points for the teachers and the stakeholders to assess the progress of learning by children are learning outcomes, skills, attitude, competency. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব learning outcomes. Activities requiring running, jumping, balancing, cycling should be provided for stability, eye-hand coordination, large muscle development, fine muscles development. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব large muscles development. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act, a landmark legislation which aimed to provide free and compulsory elementary education for children between 6 and 14 years age, was passed in the year 2010, 1986, 2009, 1992. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব 2009. In competency-based education system, learning outcomes for each classes are well defined and fixed, developed by class teacher, variable developed by students. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব well defined and fixed. It is not one of the developmental goals of FLN framework. Children participate in games and sports. Children become involved learners and connect with their environment. Children become effective communicators. Children maintain good health and well-being. Our শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব children participate in games and sports. In competency model, instruction is designed to match the best of the students' class or grade, skills, age, developmental readiness. Our শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব developmental readiness. Activities like cutting, pasting, tearing, stringing the beads, fixing the puzzles, playing with blocks, and playing with clay, the sand, water lead to stability, large muscle development, fine muscles development, balance. Our শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব fine muscles development. Each competency has been given a number code for arranging the learning outcomes hierarchically, arranging the learning outcomes systematically, arranging the learning outcomes horizontally, easy identification and referencing. ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব easy identification and referencing. Children who maintain good health and well-being does not focus on health, hygiene and safety, socio-emotional development, language and literacy, physical and motor development. ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব language and literacy. Specific statements that describe exactly what a student will be able to do in some measurable ways are learning outcomes, attitude, skill, competency. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব learning outcomes. Developmental goal 3 progresses into following subjects in grade 3: Hindi and English, mathematics and EVS, science and social science, games and sports. আৰু শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব mathematics and EVS. Which is not an outcome of competency-based education. Students acquire higher marks in the annual examination. The burden of incomprehension is reduced. Students' dependence on rote learning is reduced. Students apply their knowledge to real-life situations. আৰু ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব students acquire higher marks in annual examination. The third year of the FLN framework is known as kindergarten, preschool, school readiness program, bal batika. ইয়াৰ শুদ্ধ উত্তৰটো হ'ব bal batika. এনেদৰে কৰিলে আপোনালোকে সম্পূৰ্ণ নম্বৰ পাবলৈ সক্ষম হ'ব। আজিলৈ ইয়াতে নিষ্ঠা ট্ৰেইনিঙৰ কোৰ্চটোৰ শিফটিং টুৱাৰ্ডছ কম্পিটেন্সি বেছড এডুকেশ্যন পেপাৰখনৰ প্ৰশ্নসমূহৰ আলোচনা সামৰা হৈছে। যদি আপোনালোকৰ এই ভিডিঅ'টো চাই ভাল লাগে, লাইক কৰিব, শ্বেয়াৰ কৰিব আৰু মোৰ চেনেলটো ছাবস্ক্ৰাইব কৰি দিব। লগতে কাষতে থকা বেল আইকনটো প্ৰেছ কৰি তাত থকা অল অপশ্যনটোত ক্লিক কৰি দিব।